The desert cools fast after sunset. Heat fades from the rocks. Long shadows stretch across the sand like black fingers. The wind drops, and everything becomes still. But stillness does not mean safety. Not here, not on this ancient land where every dune hid something hungry, something patient, something watching, something watching. Tonight, we follow a creature known more in legend than in truth. A creature smaller than many imagine, but far more dangerous than its size suggests. A creature whose name carried fear long after its bones turned to stone. The Velociraptor. Long before its name became famous, the people of the desert spoke of night spirits, thin hunters that stepped softly across the dunes, eyes like polished stones, claws curved like the moon. They said these spirits moved in groups. 3, 5, sometimes more. No one could escape them. These old legends sound like stories, but every story starts somewhere. Something real, something living, something that survived by never being seen until it was too late. And that matches the raptor well, very well. Our journey begins with footprints, shallow, narrow, pressed into a thin layer of hardened mud that once bordered a river long gone. Most animals here left wide tracks, heavy tracks, but these were thin, three-toed, light enough to show speed, yet sharp enough to show control. These prints spoke of a creature that carried its weight forward, balanced by a stiff tail like a tightrope walker. A creature designed not for power, but for precision. This is where the mystery begins, because the deeper we look, the more. To understand the raptor, we must understand its design. It was small, about the height of a large turkey, light frame, strong legs, a long snout. But its most important features were not its teeth, not its jaws, not even the wicked claw on each foot. Its greatest tools were not weapons at all. They were its senses, eyes forward for depth, ears tuned to the faintest sound, feathers covering its body, perfect for soft movement. This was a hunter made not for loud attacks, but for silent ones, a shadow with patience, a ghost with. Most hunters on this ancient land slept at night. The heat of the day took too much energy. But the Velociraptor moved best in the dark, because in darkness, the desert belonged to ears over eyes, and few ears were sharper than the raptor's. It listened to every shift of sand, every step, every heartbeat it could sense through the ground. Night was not its danger. Night was its comfort, its shield, its world. And on one particular night, the hunt would begin with a single mistake, a young herbivore stepping too far from its group. The animal was small, a protoceratops, barely old enough to stand its ground, wandering near a line of bushes that hid more than sticks and thorns. It didn't hear the soft click, it didn't sense the air shift, it didn't know it was being watched. 3 raptors had taken positions, one behind, one on the right, one directly ahead. They moved without sound. No growls, no hisses, only breath. Slow and steady. The protoceratops took one more step, and the circle closed. The lead raptor acted first. A blur of feathers, claws glinting under starlight. It lunged low, aiming not for the throat, but for the legs. The protoceratops stumbled, but before it could rise, another raptor leapt from the side. A sickle claw hooked into soft skin. The third raptor darted forward, biting, pulling, tearing. Not chaotic, not wild, coordinated, cold, fast. By the time the dust settled, the hunt was over. The raptors ate quickly, always listening, always ready to run if something larger arrived. Across ancient lands, different people later told stories of thin hunters in the night, creatures that moved in teams, creatures that worked with purpose. Some called them shadow walkers, others called them feather snakes. Some believed they were guardians, others believed they were demons. Every version was different, but one thing stayed the same. They came at night, they hunted together, and they struck without a sound. Science gave them a new name, Velociraptor. But old names often hold truths that new names forget. Did the raptors truly hunt in groups? Some scientists doubt it. Others see patterns too strong to ignore. Fossils found in clusters, multiple raptors tangled with larger prey, footprints showing movements side by side. If these creatures hunted together, even loosely, they were among the most efficient killers of their age. Not because of strength, not because of strength, not because of size, but because of teamwork. One of the strangest fossils ever found showed a raptor locked in battle with a Protoceratops, both preserved as if frozen mid-fight. The raptor's claw against the herbivore's throat, the herbivore's jaws locked on the raptor's arm. Neither escaped. Some say they were trapped by a collapsing dune. Others say a sudden sandstorm buried them alive. Whatever happened, it shows us something important. Raptors attacked animals even their own size, creatures that could kill them. This tells us their mind was bold, fearless, maybe too fearless. The Velociraptor had more than claws, more than teeth, more than speed. It had a brain built for strategy, large for its body, quick thinking, always searching for a weakness, always adjusting. And when it found that weakness, the strike was instant. The sickle claw, curved like a hunting knife, lifted flesh from bone, not slashing wildly, cutting with purpose, precise, efficient, wildly, cutting with purpose, precise, efficient, like a bee. Some people do not like thinking of raptors with feathers. But feathers are not weakness. Feathers are silence. Feathers are camouflage. Feathers break up shape. Feathers blur outlines. And in the night, a feathered hunter vanishes faster than a scaled one. The raptor was not a monster from movies. It was something far more frightening. A silent, thinking predator that moved through darkness like flowing water. Raptors were smart enough to know one thing: never fight a strong opponent head-on. They targeted the weak, the young, the tired, the distracted. This was not cowardice. This was survival. In a world full of giants, the clever lived longer than the brave. And the Velociraptor was clever. Very clever. Life in the late Cretaceous desert of Asia was unforgiving. Heat by day, cold by night. Sandstorms that swallowed the horizon. Waterholes dried fast. And every creature was both hunter and hunted. The raptor navigated this world with perfect skill. It knew every hiding place, every path, every scent carried on the wind. It lived close to the ground, close to the danger, close to the truth of survival. On certain nights, more than one pack gathered. Dozens of raptors, all moving with purpose, all following a scent of something large, something powerful, something dangerous. A full-scale hunt like this was rare, but when it happened, the desert shook with claws. Shadows moved like waves across the sand. Eyes glowed in every direction. Creatures fled. Others froze. But not all survived. The raptors chose their target carefully. A sick or wounded creature. A mother separated from her group. The Velociraptor did not roar. It did not scream. Its terror was quiet. Its horror was the kind you never heard coming. A cold breath on the back of your neck. A shadow that shouldn't be there. A shape moving just outside your vision. Some dinosaurs inspired awe. The raptor inspired fear. Not loud fear. Silent fear. The kind that settles deep in your chest. The kind you carry long after the story ends. Like all creatures, the raptor's reign ended. Time moved on. Continents shifted. Climates changed. Their world vanished. But their legend stayed alive in the rocks they left behind. footprints pressed into ancient riverbanks, bones curled in desert cliffs, claws sharper than any knife. Even after millions of years, their story still whispers through the sand. A story of shadows, a story of teamwork, a story of intelligence, a story of quiet danger. And when you hear that whisper, you understand, of all the hunters we have followed, none mastered silence like the Velociraptor. None blended so well with darkness. None struck with such controlled purpose. It was not the strongest, not the biggest, not the fastest. But it did not need to be. It was something else entirely. The perfect night hunter. A creature shaped not by force, but by patience, by calculation, by teamwork. A ghost of the desert that lived and died by silence. And so, when the final night of its world came, you can imagine the last raptor standing. Tonight, we looked for the truth behind the Velociraptor. Not the movie monster, not the oversized beast, but the real creature. Small, feathered, intelligent, dangerous. A hunter that ruled the night through silence, focus, and unbreakable teamwork. And even now, long after its bones have turned to stone, its shadow still moves across the desert of memory. Still watching, still hotting, still hunting in the dark corners of imagination. Some stories never die. This is one of them. The dune looks still at first glance, quiet as an untouched grave. But when you kneel beside it, you feel a faint tremor inside the sand, as if something once moved here, something fast, something sharp. The echo of a chase long finished, yet somehow still alive beneath your hand. The earth remembers it. Every leap, every slash, every heartbeat of the hunter that passed. And in that echo, you hear a truth. The raptor did not simply walk this world. It carved its path into the bones of the land, a path the desert refuses. Night gathers at the edge of the forest, folding itself into the branches, weaving darkness between the trunks. And there, in the thin space between shadow and bark, you sense movement, not loud, not clear, just there. A presence waiting for its moment, holding the silence like a blade. No roar, no growl, only intention. The kind of intention you feel before you see. The kind that once stalked prey with a mind sharper than its teeth. And as you stare into that thin gap, you realize this is exactly where the raptor thrived. In the place, a scatter of bones lies ahead, arranged in a pattern too chaotic to be natural, yet too deliberate to be random. The ribcage split clean, the vertebrae torn apart, the skull cracked inward. A hunt abandoned mid-strike, interrupted by something greater than speed or stealth. What ended it? What cut through the raptor's mastery? The answer is buried, but the evidence remains. A freeze frame of violence, a story of instinct denied, and a hunter forced to retreat for the first and last time. The wind sweeps across the clearing, soft at first, then colder, as if carrying memory instead of air. It slides around your shoulders, your face, your breath. And for a moment you feel watched, not by eyes, not by presence, but by the lingering shape of a creature that once ruled this ground. A shape the wind refuses to let die. It bends the grass the way it once moved. It parts the leaves the way it once slipped through. It whispers in a pattern almost like footsteps, fast, light, measured. The wind knows the raptor. And now, so do you. A single stone rests beside the path, scarred by deep grooves cut at an angle only one creature could reach. Not claws of strength, but claws of precision. Thin, curved, designed to open flesh like parchment. You trace the marks with your fingers. Each line tells a story, a warning, a claim, a moment of dominance frozen in stone. This was no random swipe. This was territory. This was message. This was a signature. The raptor didn't just live here. It signed its presence into every surface it touched. Across the plain, you hear a faint cry, sharp, brief, cut short mid-note, a ghost of a voice that once sent whole herds scattering. The raptor's call, not a roar, not a scream, but a command, a message spoken in sound alone. Cooperation, coordination, purpose. It was a language of predators, spoken without hesitation, heard without misunderstanding. Tonight, the echo returns, thin as dust, light as memory, but unmistakable. A reminder that some voices never truly fade. Some trails are walked by many, others by few. But this one, this narrow, twisting ribbon through the grass, was shaped by hunters. Light steps, precise pressure, a rhythm of movement unlike anything else. You follow it closely, feeling the ground shift in the exact places it once shifted for them. Every curve tells intention. Every dip tells strategy. This is not the path of prey. This is the signature of pursuit. And even now, long after the world changed, the trail still leads you to where danger once lived. Prey animals leave traces. Broken branches, scattered tracks, panicked patterns etched in mud. Here you find that panic preserved. A frantic spiral of impressions, circling, doubling back, ending abruptly. A final moment, captured forever. The raptor was here. Close. Closer than comfort. Close enough for fear to become form. And as you stand over the fossilized chaos, you feel the same shiver that ancient creature felt in its last heartbeat. The moon hangs low, casting a long white streak across the ground. A perfect hunting isle, illuminated just enough for killers to see their work. This was the raptor's element. Not full darkness, not full light, but the in-between, where shadows stretch and outlines sharpen. A world illuminated only enough to show weakness. This is where it excelled. Reading movement, predicting paths, cutting angles with a mind built for precision. Under this moon, you feel that intelligence. You kneel beside a shallow pool, the mud cracked and dry, but not too dry to keep a memory. A single toe impression remains, the sickle claw raised, only its base touching down. A symbol of death left softly in the earth. It wasn't walking here. It was stalking, balanced, focused, ready. That claw wasn't meant to tread. It was meant to cut. And even now, millions of years later, the ground remembers the weight of the killing stroke. A branch lies snapped in half, its break clean, its edges angled down. Not a fall, not a storm, a leap, a strike. A moment when a predator launched itself with such force that the forest bent beneath its will. You lift the broken piece. It still holds the story, the tension, the velocity, the intent. This was not a clumsy animal. This was a weapon that moved faster than fear itself. You step into a narrow hollow, barely wide enough for a crouched body, but perfect for an ambush. The ground is worn smooth inside, as if something small and deadly waited here often. Its scent long gone, its heat long faded, but the shape remains. This was a raptor blind, a place where patience became power, where silence became the first strike, where prey only realized the danger in its final breath. The hollow feels colder when you understand it. Not all predators leave chaos. Some leave order. Here, you find bones arranged with unsettling precision. Cleaned, stripped, sorted by size, as if hunger alone wasn't the purpose. The raptor was methodical, efficient, a technician of flesh. Nothing wasted, nothing left behind. Every meal a craft, every skeleton a message. The hunter is never careless, never sloppy, always certain. You enter a clearing, and everything goes quiet. No insects, No wind, no breath, just emptiness, hushed, hollow, a silence that feels intentional. This was killing ground, a place where noise served no purpose, where the only sound worth making was the final one. You feel your heart beat louder than it should be, because in this space, sound does not belong to you. It belongs to what once hunted here. You feel it before you understand it. A tightening along your back, a subtle lift of every instinct you own. A warning. Ancient. Involuntary. The same signal that once saved mammals from the hunters in the dark. Your body reacts to the memory long before your mind does. Something about this place. The angle of the trees, the depth of the shadows, the shape of the ground, makes you feel exposed. This is where the raptor gained advantage, where fear learned its shape. A half-consumed carcass lies collapsed, its bones not fully broken open, its body not fully stripped of meat. A strange thing. Raptors did not abandon meals, not unless something greater intervened. You study the bite marks. Clean, efficient, but unfinished. What scared the hunter? What stopped the feast? The answer is lost in the dirt, but the fear is not. Predators do not leave food unless danger arrives. Real danger. The ground ahead dips sharply. Two narrow trenches carved side by side, parallel lines of force and speed. Raptor footprints, not in a walk, not in a stalk, but a sprint. A deadly charge driven by instinct. This was pursuit. A chase so intense, the earth had no choice but to memorize it. You place your foot beside the print. It dwarfs you in meaning, not in size. The raptor ran here, and whatever it chased, ran for its life. Some hunters kill with muscle, some with speed, but the raptor, it killed with thought. Here, you find the remains of a trap, a narrow funnel of brush leading to a choke point, a place where prey could only move in one direction. And in that one direction, death waited. This wasn't luck. This was design. A predator that planned, calculated, prepared. The world remembers many giants, but few thinkers. The raptor was both small and vast. The leaves of a low shrub still hold faint shadows of stains, dark patches preserved by minerals and time. Blood. Spilled violently. Sprayed. This wasn't a clean kill. This was a struggle. A final thrash of a dying creature that realized too late what hunted it. You touch the leaves. Cold now. Still now. But once warm with life. The raptor left this mark behind, not out of cruelty, but out of survival. A reminder that even the dead leave stories behind. A pattern of fractures in a nearby tree suggests a sudden collision. A desperate animal slamming against bark in panic. A warning cry must have echoed here once, long before the world changed. Not for help, not for safety, but for others nearby. A final shout. Danger. Hunter. Run. The raptor forced that voice from the throat, forced fear into the forest, forced the world to listen. Even now, you can almost hear it. Not one set of prints, not two, but many, converging, diverging, weaving around each other in a dance of coordination. The pack moved together, thought together, killed together. Each step purposeful, each stride connected. You walk among their ghostly trails, and the pattern becomes clear. They weren't just a pack. They were a machine, a single mind with many claws, and nothing escaped it. Ahead lies the massive rib of a large herbivore, split open from below, not above. A signature strike. The raptors brought down something bigger, much bigger. Through precision, not power. Through teamwork, not raw strength. They cut into the giant where it was weakest, not where it was strongest. A reminder, size is not safety. not when intelligence hunts in groups. The trackway stops abruptly. No transition, no fade, just absence. A single leap erased the rest. The prey likely fell here, collapsed under the force of the attack. You examine the ground, scraped earth, deep gouges, a violent struggle. This was the moment the hunt ended. The silence afterward must have been heavy, terrible, final, because every hunt must close, every chase must settle, and every predator, even this one, found an end eventually. A warm current brushes across your face, unexpected in the cool dusk. A breath of air rising from a crack in the earth. A whisper of something ancient below. Some places carry memory like heat, slow, steady, enduring. You close your eyes for a moment, and in that warmth you sense calm. A rare softness in a story of killers. Even the raptor slept. Even the hunter needed quiet. The world remembers everything, even rest. Half buried in the soil, you find teeth. Small, curved, razor-edged. Not shed from boredom, shed from life. A predator loses many teeth, but only during the frenzy of the kill. These were torn out with force. Violence so sharp it cost the hunter its weapons, and still, it finished the kill. That's the truth of the raptor. Even damaged, it was deadly. Even wounded, it was unstoppable. Somewhere in the clearing, you feel the weight of a moment long gone. When the hunt ended, when the pack fed, when the world paused. Victory has a sound, quiet, controlled, certain. Not the roar of triumph, but the hush of efficiency. The raptor did not celebrate. It simply consumed, renewed, moved on. A creature of pure purpose. A creature without waste. A creature that knew the night was always waiting. You feel a shift in the air, a change in pressure, a subtle thickening of shadow. Something once stood here, close to where you now stand. A presence, a shape, a thought. Predators do not haunt places, but places remember predators. And the darkness here feels shaped by the memory of one. A memory that leans close, that watches, that waits. Even when nothing is there. Another feather lies in the dust, this one larger, frayed at the tip, stained near the base. A feather torn during struggle, during flightless violence, during the final days of its world. You lift it gently, light, fragile, delicate, yet belonging to something so utterly lethal. The contrast is almost beautiful. Beauty born from danger, grace born from hunger. The raptor was many things, but never simple. The sky once shifted in a single night, changing everything the raptor knew. Ash fell. Heat rose. The air thickened with endings. Yet for a time they lived through it, hunting in smaller groups, searching for prey that no longer came. They adapted. They endured. Until endurance became impossible. The world that shaped them became the world that ended them. A lesson written in ash and bone. No hunter outruns the sky. You imagine it. The very last raptor, standing atop a cracked ridge, looking over a silent land. No pack beside it. No prey ahead. Just wind and emptiness. It would not roar. It would not cry. It would simply listen. The same way it always had. For a sound that would never return. A creature born of silence, ending in silence. A shadow dissolving into the world it once ruled. And now, as you step away from the last clues, the last tracks, the last whispers of the hunt, you feel an unexpected truth. The raptor is not gone. Not really. Its story walks with you. Its presence lingers in the wind. Its intelligence hides in the shadows. Its legacy breathes in every instinct that tells you to listen.